YouTube. I've just gotten home from an audition that did not go great, but was fine. It was okay. I didn't really do very well like I wanted to. And I wanted to treat myself to some sushi and boba as a post-audition treat. And I thought I'd just kind of sit and chat with you and catch up on what's been going on. It's a cute little cat here. He's being a little snot this morning. Come here. This little girl wiping her poop on the floor this morning, literally as I'm trying to get ready to leave before going to this audition. Hey, look at the camera. Look at the camera. Literally wiping her poop on the floor, and it's all over her butt, and then trying to lick it while I'm trying to get ready. I was like doing my hair and I had an egg cooking on the stove, and she's getting poop everywhere. So I like to stop what I was doing, make sure my egg didn't like burn, and chase her around the apartment and wipe her butt. It was so annoying. Anyway, it feels like things have been like really crazy lately, specifically because of auditions, honestly. I feel like I've been like non-stop doing auditions lately. There have been some really solid weeks of auditions where I've been singing at like pretty much everything I've gone to, and then there have been some not so great weeks where I have not been. And then there's ones like today where I had an appointment for it and it just did not go as good as it could have been. But for the most part, I've been feeling like really good about auditions lately. It's felt like really solid, like I'm back in the routine of them, but I just need to figure out the balance of like auditions and wanting to take classes, because today I was like, I need to go take a class to like get myself recentered into like how I want to feel in audition. So I haven't taken a class in like 3 weeks as well, because there's a teacher I really like who hasn't been teaching for the past 3 weeks. So I've been using that to like be at auditions and sit and wait at auditions. But now I'm like, no, I need to be back in class. Like I need it. Let's try the sushi real quick. I mean, oh my God. Oh, yes. This new sushi place opened up near the apartment, and it's so good. Sean is currently out of town on a work trip, and he also just started a new job. While he's been doing all of that, it feels like life has been like a little bit like all over the place, with him being out of the apartment at this new job, now out of town, just until tomorrow. And then me being out of the apartment all the time at auditions. It's just felt like we're both in like jobs and life that's outside of the apartment a lot more. And also, this past weekend was my bachelorette party, because I'm getting married in 2 months, which is still insane. But that was this weekend. I'll talk about that a little bit more also. This is a deep fried sushi roll, and it's still warm, which is great. And it's a rainy day out right now. This is delightful. So specifically with auditions, it feels like I'm kind of in the middle of a wasteland of things, of not knowing exactly when I'll get seen at things, when I won't, how long I should wait around for things. There was one week, like 2 weeks ago, where I was sitting and waiting at auditions for like 7 hours and not getting seen. And it was just very disheartening of being like, okay, I'm back in New York auditioning a lot. Things are back in person a lot. Does it feel like it used to feel all the time of just waiting around and you never know what's gonna happen? But then there's been some days where it's been like the waiting around has actually been successful, and I've been able to get seen after waiting so long, which has been really nice. There's one actually the other day for production Mary Poppins that I was able to sing at their singer call the day before because it was like so completely dead. And then their dance call next day was crazy filled with people. I was sitting around and waiting. I was like number 80 on the list. They called for like from non-union, because this was an equity call. They called maybe like 20 girls from the non-union list, and I was like, let me just go see what's happening at this other audition that was happening for a national tour, for a principal audition, and then I'll come back and see what's going on at this Mary Poppins audition for this regional theater. I run from Actors Equity to Pearl Studios, which is about like 10 blocks in Manhattan, get seen at the national tour audition within like 20 minutes of showing up at this principal audition, because I think it was like the 3rd day of this. Got seen real quick and I was really happy about it. And then went back up to this Mary Poppins, and it was like at the lunch break, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sign up for the boys call that's in the afternoon, because it's Mary Poppins. It sounded like they were doing a tap combo to Step in Time. Why not? And then I got seen with the boys, and it didn't matter. Like it was a tap combo that everybody was doing in the day. So my waiting around actually turned out great, because I got seen for this theater. I got seen to sing for them the day before, and I got to dance for them the next day, and also kind of stand out by being the only girl in a boys call, but also like do pretty well in it. I felt like I did well. So it's kind of like playing the game at this moment is like what it feels like I need to just kind of keep doing. Last week was like a really solid week of auditions. I had an appointment for an audition that I kept through the entire whole day of the initial day of it, of 2 rounds of dancing and singing, which was really great, and I felt really good about everything. The next day got seen in another audition. The next day was that whole situation with the Mary Poppins thing, so it felt like really good and solid. But then like the week before was just a lot of like sitting around and waiting and hoping and then not getting seen because they ended up taking too long for certain things and you just don't know what's gonna happen in the audition room. And then today where it was, I feel like my head was not in the right headspace of like, I was literally rushing out the door, wiping Mushroom's butt, and then didn't get to eat as much as I wanted to. I had like 2 eggs for breakfast. As I was running out, I was gonna make something with it that I didn't have time to make because I was cleaning up Mushroom. And then like got to the audition, it seemed like people kind of didn't totally know what was going on. They taught the combo really fast and I got all the steps, but I just feel like I wasn't in it enough. I was also in the first group because when I checked in, I didn't realize I was checking in to be like the first person in line. And as I realized it, I was like, oh, I have slightly shot myself in the foot by not giving myself like a group to go ahead of me to make sure I'm like, feel good about the combo. Like I felt fine when I was in the room, but then after I did it, I was like, I could have done that a lot better. And if I'd been like in a second or third group, I feel like I would have like been a little bit more settled. And I was just like, I was a little bit bummed about it because I did want to tap for this theater, but I did also sing for them last week. So I'm kind of like, well, they at least got to see me dance and sing. So that's something because their principal audition last week was dead also. So it kind of worked out nicely. So I feel like I've not felt a sense of balance over the past 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, with sitting around at auditions all day, working, doing my resume stuff while I'm sitting at these auditions and then like going home. I haven't like taken time to dance for myself, and that is taking a class. So I need to go do that. This is so good. I love this so much. This was the right move. I was just gonna treat myself to the boba, but the sushi also was the right move. But the big other thing that was happening in March was the bachelorette party, which was really fun and really exciting. I wanted to have that to be like a couple of days just to focus on like hanging out with my friends who were coming into town and my sister who was coming into town, my other sister who lives here, my other bridesmaid who lives here as well, and like just celebrating like the wedding and me, because I don't do that a lot and I'm not the center of attention a lot. And there's definitely times where I was like, oh, this feels a little bit weird being like the full center of attention. But I really wanted to have like this past weekend be like a lot about that. Super fun, super chill, because I'm not like a partier at all. My sisters helped put it together of doing an escape room. We went to Spyscape, which is the spy museum here in the city. It was kind of an inside joke between me and my sister Alexis that I told her for her birthday like 5 years ago that I would take her there, and then never did it because I happened to see it in the city and I thought it'd be cool. And then we just kept being like, oh, we'll take you to Spyscape. We'll like, take each other to Spyscape. And then it never happened. And then we were like, well, this is a perfect reason to go to Spyscape. Why not? And Spyscape ended up being like super cool. I'd say if you're in New York and you're looking for like a fun experience, go to Spyscape. It's really, really fun. And then we did an escape room as well that also happened to be spy/James Bond themed. And we got it with 8 minutes to spare. We killed it. We had a really good Japanese dinner. They had these kimchi udon noodles and like a creamy sauce that was so good. Honestly, like the best part of the meal. The sushi was great, but like that was also really delicious too. We also got foot massages in Koreatown. And then the next day we had brunch with my parents and with a family friend who came also. And then we went to go see a show. I saw a lot of theater this past weekend. I have not seen a lot of shows recently. And with this past weekend, with like when people were coming into town and when they were staying with me and all that kind of stuff, I saw a lot of shows. Thursday was when my friend Amber came into town and she wanted to go see Hadestown. And we were trying to get tickets beforehand. Then they were just really expensive. So we ended up getting standing room tickets for that evening. I like finagled my way into getting them like when they technically didn't have them available yet because they weren't fully sold out. Then the guy at the box office was like, I'll just give it the standing room. So we saw Hadestown on Thursday. Then Friday, Rachel came into town and she had actually won the night before lottery tickets to the opening night of Peter Pan Goes Wrong. So before I went to go see Hadestown on Thursday, me and Amber, we were able to get a cheap ticket for the opening night of Peter Pan Goes Wrong the next night. So then all 3 of us went to go see that on Friday night, which was so funny. I hadn't seen any of the like Goes Wrong shows before and it was so good. For Sunday, we were just kind of like, we'll get whatever tickets we can get for a show, looking for like the timing after brunch. It just happened to be that Bad Cinderella had a show at 2. And I walked up to the box office and I was like, hi, I'm looking for 5 tickets. What do you have? And then the lady was like, I have $30 tickets or $50 tickets. And then Morgan and Alex had to come into the theater to figure out whatever, but she was like, just take the $30 tickets and gave us 5 $30 tickets, which was so nice. And the show was not great. It was very campy. I had been following a lot of the West End drama because I'm a huge fan of Carrie Hope Fletcher, so I've been following that for quite a while. And then finally seeing it on Broadway, I think if I'd seen it in the West End, I would have liked it a lot better because of Carrie Hope Fletcher, but also because of like the thing that happened in the second act of like half the audience, like the first 5 rows of the audience rotating with the stage and like the visuals of it. It seemed like in the West End it worked a lot better. Whereas here, there was a lot of things that I was like, this is bad. Good marketing change for bad Cinderella. And then Monday night, me, Rachel, and Amber ended up going to see Shucked, because Shucked premiered initially, it's like pre-Broadway run at Pioneer Theater, which is theater that's on campus at Salt Lake City, at the University of Utah that I worked at in college. And Rachel wanted to see it after seeing it twice in Salt Lake. She was like, I want to see the changes they've made for Broadway. So we were able to get somewhat cheap tickets for that. And it was actually really good. It was really funny. I had literally no clue what to expect about it because all I've seen online about it is that it's a musical about corn. But it is great. It is very funny. Lots of really good humor and jokes throughout the entire thing. Good songs too, like completely original. There's nothing else I can like compare it to. It just also happened to be like, because it was a Monday night industry night, it felt like I was sitting behind a director of something else who like at intermission was talking about casting and auditioning one of the actors who was in the show. And then after the show, I think the director from the UK Heathers was there. Like I saw him, he was wearing a mask. I'm like, he looks very familiar. I think he directed UK Heathers, but also I think American Heathers before, like in all the things that happened in like the early 2010s. The choreographer was sitting in front of Amber. Ben Platt and Michaela Diamond and Gavin Creel were there on their night off from their shows. It was just like wild. But yeah, it was a really good weekend. I feel like a lot of it, I was just like, there's people in the apartment because Rachel and Amber were staying with me. So it felt like things were kind of like upended a little bit, but in like a very good way because I got to see my friends. But then like when they left on Tuesday, and Sean also left for his business trip, his work trip on Tuesday, I was like, okay, I need to clean and I have the apartment to myself, so I need to get my life back in order. So it kind of felt like Tuesday and Wednesday were like my weekend, and then today is like my Monday because of like not having the weekend, of like having a lot of things I was doing over the weekend and having friends in town, that I'm like, okay, today kind of feels like Monday. And even yesterday kind of felt like a Monday as well. It just felt like I'm like getting back into the week and I don't really know what's going on. This food, this sushi is like giving me so much life. When I was on the train home, I was just like, oh my God, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything. And I was like, it's probably because I didn't really eat enough before going to my audition. And now that I've eaten something, and it's something that's so good, it's really made a difference. You know, food makes a difference. And now I'm like, okay, Bachelorette weekend happened. So many things that I still need to think about for the wedding that I keep being like, holy crap. I have to go back to Salt Lake in April for a dress fitting that I just bought the flight for, instead of the appointment for literally a day. So there's just like those kinds of things I'm thinking about, as well as work stuff, as well as auditions, and being like, okay, I want to try to book a job for after the wedding and like the end of the summer into the fall. Will I do that? Yes, we're putting into the universe, we are going to, but it's just like figuring out the auditions and getting seen. Everything's been good lately. I feel like I've been in like a really like solid, good place mentally, emotionally, all that kind of stuff. Now it's just like, okay, I gotta get myself back into the routine that I had at like the end of February into the beginning of March, of like taking at least a dance class per week. So I know that I'm dancing for myself and not just for like casting directors and things like that, and different theaters and tours and whatever else is going on, that I'm like taking that time to like do my own thing for myself and really focus on myself in that kind of way. Because I know that like I could definitely tell there was like a mood shift when I started taking classes more regularly. I was like, oh, this feels like really good for myself. I think I'm gonna take a class tomorrow. I think it'd be good for me to like end the crazy week that I had of like everything leading up to the bachelorette party going back into this week. Ending that with a class I've been wanting to take, and then being like, okay, we're resetting for next week, let's do it. But yeah, that's what's been going on. I'm gonna go and finish the sushi and my boba. It's Thursday today, so happy Thursday. Have a good weekend. Thank you so much for watching DFTBA, and I will see you all next time. Bye.